Last week, I mentioned the Vatican had named, pardon me. By the way, again, I'm working with NVIDIA's background removal for the green screen thing. So you're going to have to forgive the fact that it's not going to look so background green screeny as well as it should. Anyways, last week I mentioned the Vatican has named Juan Carlos Cruz, who's a Chilean survivor of clerical sex abuse, to serve on the Pontifical Commission for Protection of Minors, a Vatican commission that advises the pontiff on how to protect children from pedophile priests. Follow that up with more great news out of the Vatican. On September 1st, the Center for Child Protection at the Gregorian University in Rome will become the Institute of Anthropology, Interdisciplinary Studies on Human Dignity and Care, which I had to say to myself and repeat like 70 times. A change that symbolizes the church's changed approach to a problem that has widened far beyond the church, according to Reverend Hans Zollner. I went the wrong direction. Oh well. There we go. There's that one. Hans Zollner, the president of the organization. Hans Zollner. How do I know that name from? Somewhere. I don't remember right now, but it's going to come to me. Anyways, this guy is Reverend Zollner. He's so familiar, but I'm going to figure it out. Anyways, he said, quote, there has been a growing number of cases of spiritual abuse, coercive control, and abuse of power against lay and religious women. And Pope Francis has instituted, I figured it out, this guy, he's Zola, Arnim Zola, from Captain America. The guy is Arnim Zola. This makes so much more sense now, and I guess he's going to turn into MODOK and totally ruin my predicted storyline with the new Captain America franchise. Yeah, Captain America is a black guy, die-mad white supremacist. When AIM will come on board, and I was totally right about everything in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, by the way, so suck on that, WandaVision fans. But it might not, but it might actually work out, because we already know that Photon is going to join Captain Marvel and going to be in her next film, and Wanda is going to be with Doctor Strange, but Sword is still around, which means that AIM, which is going to be Hydra in the timeline. Who do you think Julie Louis-Dreyfus was saying when she said her name was Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine? She's Miss Hydra, duh. And now that she's going to have U.S. Agent on her side, again, totally predicted that, she's going to show up in Loki, which is totally going to be at least partially based in Portland, going after the Mind Stone, and where she'll also see John Walker, but not in the good way, because again, U.S. Agent, meaning Loki and Miss Hydra, are going to be working together, at least partially, which sets the stage perfectly for MODOK, and thus the amazing Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan, or, as you may know her, Miss Marvel, the first Muslim superhero. Meaning we'll also see her soon-to-be best friend, Riri Williams, played by Dominique Thorne, who is mentored by the one and only Tony Stark. We'll also get his technology, because he's already uploaded his message to her into Friday before, and she's going to get all of his cash and tech and become Ironheart. And yeah, you aren't seeing this wrong, people that asked me how this is all going to come together with Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, as if you thought they weren't connected. Marvel connects everything. And we already know that Photon and Captain Marvel are hanging out together somewhere fighting off the Kree, so it's obvious Miss Marvel and Ironheart are going to be, Miss Marvel and Ironheart are going to join them. But don't you dare leave out Kate Bishop. Just saying. And that dog right there, that's Lucky. That's the dog's name. And you're going to learn to love him. I promise you are. But they won't be able to battle all of Hydra forces without Thor. That Thor. Right? Just saying. And the new Ant-Man. Aunt Cassie. Aunt Cassie. I don't really know. And She-Hulk. And Eli from the Falcon show, which totally just finished. I'm just saying. Who's going to be Patriot in the Young Avengers. I'm just putting it out there. But then Captain America, not America's ass there, that one is going to have to come back, because he, along with Bucky, know how to defeat Hydra, which is also Red Skull. Baron Zemo. I don't know. And Kang the Conqueror is going to be there. And as well, we can't forget about the Eternals. And is everybody keeping up?
I can do this all. No.
was kind of wondering if I could like hit that again, and apparently, yes, I can, and it works. So, FYI, I am. I have a couple of things that weren't uploaded properly onto my Stream Deck, and so that's going to be a thing later on, but it's not going to get in the way of a lot of things that we're doing, except for like one kind of funny thing that maybe, but I'm pretty certain I can just make that happen. Anyways, just by clicking the mouse. So if you hear a mouse click, that's what I'm doing. Welcome to Divine Disbelief episode 51. We're 51 years old. And I am Nathaniel, and I have no idea what happened on the previous one. Sometimes I have tangents about Marvel, and I'm right about everything. By the way, also, apparently the president is pretty close to a socialist or something and wants to raise the minimum wage and cure cancer and take care of the crisis at the border, which is something we made up. Not the crisis. Hold on, let me see if I can do this right again. I forgot something. Where is that one at? Maybe I got the slides wrong. I forgot the name of the slides that I put on this one, because this
28th intro?
it should be April 28th. I wonder if it's this one. It's not that one. No. I wonder if it's it's not that one. Should just be like April 28th, huh? Nope. Why did I do that? Why, Nathaniel, did you do that? I don't know where I put these slides.
Did you put a button for it?
I think that I did, but I don't know where it went.
Is it in a folder?
I mean, it might be. Let's be honest here. Not that one. That's the deep dive thing. See, guys, I had this figured out. That's the fire intro. I used to do this is the intro with video. I did that one already. You know I put it somewhere, and I don't know where it went. But this one, what is this? Was this one? Nope, that's not it. I'm mad at myself because I have these in here. I am honestly disappointed in myself because I was certain that I had these in here. I am not joking. It should be like F4 and F5. Maybe I should just do that. Except, they are. Because that's not it. That's Kang the Conqueror.
It is.
Did I not put them in here? Because see, this is what I'm talking about. I know that I had these in here. This is not part of the script. Although, you could probably say that it was. And welcome in everybody that gets to see this amazing stuff. Maybe it was. That is really odd because I know that I had it built. I don't know where it went, love. Here, let me just add it right now and do this. Because I'm just going to add this. Because it's an image slideshow. This is the one thing that I thought that I had to add, during, this should be what's called,
Deep dive?
no, it's not the deep dive. There we go, let's call it that. And let's go in here, and let's do that. And we're going to call it, see if we can't find April 28th. Sure, let's do that. Hey, look, I found it. Look at that.
Oh, it is!
Hey, look at me. And now it's just going to go forward, because that's just like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I forgot to turn that off. Oops. Sure. Let's do that. I don't know. There you go. Anyways, as I was saying, and I'm going to try to figure out exactly how to make that go forward without putting a hotkey on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if I do like spacebar, that doesn't do anything. If I do over, wait, does that work? Oh well.
No, it's just automatically go.
Let's make it work. I don't really care. Anyways,
You got this.
so it is gonna go anyways. So that's even though I said that it's not gonna, because I totally told it not to. Slide mode, manual. It's just this is how this is gonna go today. I had everything figured out. I have a lot of things in here today, and at least some of them need to work properly. Do I have the deep dive at least in here? I think I do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's the deep dive. I see the
Okay.
deep dive.
So anyways, not the crisis, right? That was a total thing. I'm talking about borders, because borders aren't a real thing. No, we totally made them up. This is me right here, standing in the Rio Grande, looking for the border.
I took that photo.
Yeah, she did. And I even included details to show that I was there. You see a border there? No, because there's not one there. Fucking world we live in. Anyways, so let me see if the over arrow works. It doesn't. What about the space bar? I probably need to add this into the hotkeys. Self-producing. It is, but I've got a cool stream deck that's supposed to do it for me. You know? And it is. I honestly, this is probably like a me thing. Let's be honest with ourselves and everybody else. This is definitely like a me thing. So next slide, let's make it the letter C. And then next slide, let's make it previous to make it the letter V. Boom. C. Hey, look. So those are backward. Cool. So Brooklyn Nets all-star point guard Kyrie Irving has the sixth best selling jersey in the NBA. Number 1 on the list is actually like super duper obvious and easy to see.
LeBron James, LeBron James, LeBron James, LeBron James, LeBron James.
My esteemed colleague, the kid from Vine video from like 8 years ago, is correct. It's LeBron James. Just can't do it anyways. And we get it. Okay, cool. Anyway, last year, Irving helmed a documentary, which is super cool, a documentary calling for action after the police murdered Breonna Taylor. We went over that last week. There's a link appearing somewhere here or in the description or somewhere on the channel. I don't know. It's a video because I recorded the video and I was here, unless I was having another weird liberal fever dream in which cops are held accountable for their crimes. Anyways, this is after he also stood alongside other members of the Lakota Sioux tribe at Standing Rock in North Dakota as they stopped an oil pipeline from intruding on their lands. Yeah, that's still a thing, by the way. That's still something that's happening. So, anyways, this past week, Irving came out as Muslim. He announced that he is a Muslim. And this is a good thing. He is a good person, a black man who advocates for others and uses his platform for positivity instead of tearing others down. I appreciate this, and so should you. So often and all too often, Muslims in this country are vilified, not just by atheists, not just by agnostics, but also by Christians. And there is real persecution, as we're going to see, of Muslims in this country and in the world, and having somebody like Kyrie Irving as a positive representative is a good thing. Let's talk about non-positive representatives. Jerry Falwell Jr. So Liberty University is suing this fuck right here for $10 million, citing, quote, conspiracy, breach of contract, and saying that he, quote, failed to live up to the school's moral code. Now, if you're like me, you might be saying to yourself, this school has a fucking moral code? Apparently this guy didn't do a great job of living up to it. The lawsuit claims he fashioned a deceitful scheme to manipulate Executive Committee of Liberty while negotiating his last contract, and mentions his so-called Granda plan to conceal his family's relationship with Giancarlo Granda, a young man the couple had met while vacationing in Florida. You know, the guy Falwell's wife Becky had an affair with, and then who Falwell apparently watched have sex, allegedly. Granda extorted them, allegedly, saying he would tell everybody about the affair, allegedly, and share photos and messages that they didn't pay him, allegedly. But I should note, on this channel, we called all of that. We said all of that was going to happen before it happened.
Yup.
Then, of course, there's this image, which Falwell decided was a good idea to upload to his personal Instagram? Is that Instagram? I don't know. Whatever the kids in Falwell use to upload idiotic images like this one. Now, it should be noted that we aren't shaming him and his wife for enjoying their relationship in which everybody was apparently consensual, or everything was apparently consensual. What we are shaming him for, and enjoying his downfall from grace, because of, is what he said and did and acted or how he acted while president of this shitty university, and also ever. Which, by the way, Toby Mac attended, so, you know, there's that. So moving on from one hilarious dumpster fire to another one, Promise Keepers are planning a stadium rally after a 20-year gap, and they are going to, quote, fight liberals and LGBTQ community. So, FYI, the Promise Keepers were a super popular group with Christian men in the late 90s and early 2000s, but have apparently been on a 20-year hiatus. Not anymore. Ken Harrison, the new president of the, quote, parachurch organization, I don't know what the fuck that means, that was popular in the 90s, appeared on Steve Bannon's podcast, known as Real America's Voice, as opposed to, I guess, Fake America's Voice. We call that Fox News. To promote the summer rally at AT&T Stadium, which is home of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I'm just going to quote this fella and move on because, like, fuck this dude in general. And also, don't. Unless you're his wife and it's consensual, then, you know, do whatever you want. And also, don't kink shame anybody for fucking whoever they want, as long as it's not children, as long as it's consent. Anyways, liberals and LGBT community, this is him, are destroying the identity of the American people. Christian men are not standing up for what's right. Right. There's such an undercurrent who are sick and tired of the evil in this country. The nonsense the leftists are trying to tell us we're bad people, we're racists, we're misogynists. You think about how quickly we went from homosexual marriage to now men putting on dresses and being called women and playing on women's basketball teams. And where are the Christian men? I don't know, maybe they're playing with women basketball. So now what we need to do is call men back and remind us of who we are in Christ. All right. Let me go ahead and add this real fast. It is a bit ironic that he went on Steve Bannon's show. You know, like Steve Bannon, the guy who was charged with conspiracy to commit mail fraud and money laundering in connection with the We Build the Wall campaign you likely heard about a couple of years ago. And the guy who'd said that Anthony Fauci and Christopher Wray should be beheaded. That guy. Okay, so the last part kind of tracks. But yeah, these racist, misogynistic dudes are probably, apparently, like getting together this July in Arlington, Texas, at Cowboys Stadium or AT&T Stadium. And it's not the first time a bunch of losers decided to call that stadium home.
Damn.
In Hillsong news, the question remains, can these folks do anything right? Apparently not, as another Hillsong East Coast pastor has resigned, this time over revealing Instagram selfies. That's a wonderful whitewashing way of saying he sent some inappropriate things. His name is Darnell Barrett. He resigned after he shared 2 mirror selfie photos of himself shirtless and wearing white Nike compression leggings that left, quote, little to the imagination. Which, I mean, makes sense. Susan can tell you. I wear my tights, you can see my dick. I mean, you can't see it. But you can, I mean, you know it's there. It's a piece of biological equipment. Qualify. Anyways, he included captions with the photos describing a recent struggle with depression and anxiety and his pride in, quote, getting to the gym today, even if it was a cheap 30-minute workout. Now, he went on to say, one of the insidious things about grief is its capricious nature. He took the photo in the gym locker room and said, I'm learning to give myself grace in how I deal with it. Well, much like the grace that Jerry Falwell Jr. fell from, this idiot, I have additional words for him. He sent the Instagram stories to his close friends. Remember I said about Instagram and being idiots and being predators? Followers he would have manually selected. So you have to select these people. And he included a 30-year-old woman who once volunteered for him at the New Jersey church. He was super fast with a message to her saying, hey, I think I might have added you to my close friends list by accident. I'm so sorry, trying to figure out how the hell to edit it. And he followed that up with, got it, we're good. And letting her know he sent, quote, some real raw shit to my friends. Now, let me tell you something there, Mr. Barrett. Is that it, Barrett? Mr. ex-pastor guy? You aren't going to be able to do something like that, Barrett. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. So I kind of used to be like you in that I would do things like this. And I was also incredibly unfaithful in relationships. And I didn't care about the people that I was with. And I sent manipulative messages and photos like this. And I was not a good person because I was checking to see if the woman that I was sending these things to would be receptive while making it seem as though it's an accident. I did those things, same as you. I'm ashamed of the person that I was. I am, and I have reached out to those who would still have communication with me, understanding the pain that I put them through and the lies that I told. And it was not, it was, for me, the easy process part of it doesn't matter, but the fact that I subjected these honest people to these types of manipulative practices was wrong. It is who I was. So I know what the fuck you're doing. And I know that, you know what, I'm a better pastor than you just based on the fact that I don't do that anymore. Because I recognize what I was doing was wrong, and I take full responsibility for it. What you were doing was wrong. What you are doing is wrong. I know that because I hurt people. And some of them I hurt really horribly. And I told a lot of lies. So what you did is really fucked up, man. And I'm glad this woman called you out on it. She saw through your bullshit. And she first said, it's all right, but then blocked you. And then wrote back and said, I'm insulted that you would think I wouldn't understand what you're doing. Adding she was, quote, horrified by the thought of how many other innocent girls you manipulated with this ploy of yours. I'm going to assume you sent this to gauge girls' reactions to see if they'd take part in this weird sexual online relationship fantasy you have. Yeah, that's what he was doing. I know. Because I used to be like him. And I'm not proud of who I was. I accept that was who I was. And understand that there are people that are online right now that are maybe hearing this for the first time who may not accept it. And that is valid. Because I know a lot of people have gone through abuse like that. I've turned who I am with the help of my amazing partner who has helped me through this in more ways than I can possibly imagine. I speak out against people like you, Mr. Barrett. Because it's the right thing to do. I'm glad that she did as well. And I'm glad that you resigned. It's frustrating and just completely that your church didn't kick you to the fucking curb immediately. But again, this is Hillsong, where they don't actually see an issue with that, where they have to, check into things instead of believing women. Instead of believing victims, they want to put things there. Oh, it could have been an accident. No, this is never an accident. When you follow that bullshit up with my bad, I didn't mean to, but you have to manually select some shit, regardless. This perpetuates a cycle of abuse. But good for her. I hope that you get the help you need. Any moving on ways. I love you. She's over there. Behind. She's behind this guy. She's over there. Rapid fire stuff, right? Rapid fire. Here we go. Attackers in South Sudan shot an Italian bishop-elect in his home in what appears to be a warning to the Catholic Church to, quote, keep out of political disputes in the country. This is a reminder that while Christians have no need to fear persecution or harm in the United States, that is not the case everywhere. Christians are especially persecuted in the Middle East, while Muslims face persecution here in the States and Europe, but most pointedly currently in China. Jamie, a 10? That one. Whoa. That came back interestingly. Oh well, here we are. Don't yell at me in the comments. Ain't my fault.
Andrew says the last thing they heard was Jamie Atten.
Okay, Jamie Atten is a disaster psychologist and cancer survivor. He's being forced to file police reports because of the, quote, increasing number of threats that he's getting for encouraging white evangelicals to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Way to go, Christians. It's ironic you think the best way to respond to a guy encouraging other Christians to get vaccinated is to, threaten him with death. I don't know, man. All right, that's enough news for today because there's a ton more. Like, there is a lot more. There really, really is. There's a lot of great stuff going on in progressive evangelical stuff, but I'm going to put some links in the description, etc., and all of that. But today, we are going to have the return, if I can hit the button correctly, and I can't, I got to get rid of that slide, don't I? Let me see here. This is the return of the deep dive. I am very excited to have this back, and I did a lot of research and stuff on this today, and I didn't actually know that this was going to be the deep dive that I was doing. I thought I was going to do something again on Tom Osborne, the previous head coach, University of Nebraska football, that really kind of brought evangelical Christianity into the forefront of college football and in a really horrible way. But no, that's not what I am going to go over today. And so I'm gonna. I tell you what. I tell you what I'm going to go over, and this guy said it better.
And saddest of all, an unchurched year has seen church membership in the US fall for the first time below 50% of Americans.
I do love that video so much. I hate what he's saying because it's fear-mongering and awful and trying to stir up a base with appeals to emotion, but I just love how he talks, and I want him to do all of my rants in the future, and don't you judge me for that, okay? We all have things we like. Don't you shame me. But he is correct in that church membership in the United States has fallen below 50%. This is from Gallup. Americans' membership in the houses of worship continued to decline last year, dropping below 50% for the first time in Gallup's 8-decade trend. In 2020, 47% of Americans said they belonged to a church, synagogue, or mosque, down from 50% in 2018 and 70% in 1999. This shouldn't come as much of a surprise, though, as we've seen membership steadily decline from the 70% at the turn of the century to 50% in 2019 and finally to 47% last year. Now, Gallup said that the decline is due to an increase in lack of religious affiliation, which does include those who have no religious preference, which has grown from 8% in 1998 to 2000 and 13% from 2008 to 2010, and then 21% over the course of the past 3 years. That only accounts for about half of the decline, though. The other half can be attributed to a decline in formal church membership among Americans who do have a religious preference. Between 1998 and 2000, an average of 73% of religious Americans belonged to a church, synagogue, or mosque. Over the past 3 years, the average has fallen to 60%. Gallup released information showing the generational gap as well, but even then, the older generations are down between 9 to 11%. Make that, hopefully I can make that a little bit larger so you can see it, but I apparently can't do that because reasons and such that it won't. There it is. I don't know. Anyways, here, hopefully it looks a little better. Even with all of this information, Gallup can't seem to figure out why religious attendance is down so much. For me, the answer is easy and comes down to 2 areas. First, the internet, man. We are more connected than ever and have access to more information than ever before. We can see outside of our previously constrained bubbles and read material not previously available to us. Secondly, it's those who don't have children who have children later in life. That was an interesting thing that it did. A 2017 Gallup poll showed 64% of those who attend worship said spiritual programs geared toward children and teenagers was a major factor in their attendance. Now that makes sense because between 6% of women, are first-time mothers at age 29, whereas the same percent as are mothers for the first time at age 21. You compare that to 1980, when about 10% of women became mothers at the age of 19, with just over 2% at age 30. Now, it should be noted that the vast majority of women still do have children, but why are young adults having fewer children than they would ideally like? This survey tells it all. 7 of the top 10 responses have to do with money. Children are fucking expensive. Additionally, more women than men are attending and graduating from college. There it is right there. With women earning over 57% of bachelor degrees. In 2019, NPR cited a study from Pew Research showing women are now half of the U.S. college-educated labor force. Now, I brought this one up a little bit early, but that's okay because I want you to be able to read this. But because you might be asking what the amount of children a woman has to do with the age at which they first have children. Remember the chart showing money as the reasons? As it turns out, college is expensive, and women hold $929 billion, nearly 2/3 of the nation's $1.54 trillion in student loan debt. Additionally, a statistic which should shock obviously nobody at all, Black women borrow and hold more debt than any other demographic, with black men borrowing second most. I could get into reasoning for this, having to do with poverty in black communities due to systemic racism dating back to Reconstruction and continuing through Jim Crow and redlining, which guaranteed poverty for black families, and don't think this isn't going on today, and how that affects generational educational attainment, because for some reason our public education is paid for by property tax. Oh yeah, that's also because of systemic structural racism, and how that affects how much teachers are paid in majority black school districts. Spoiler, not nearly as much as they are in majority white school districts, which is super important because majority black districts have larger school sizes by far, which leads to larger classroom sizes, and that's a lower student-to-teacher ratio, which guarantees lower participation and opportunities to learn in proper settings, which leads to lower grades and the lack of opportunity to attend universities, which require higher test and SAT or ACT scores, so these students won't have access to scholarships and will have access to FAFSA grants, but are then preyed upon by for-profit universities who have little, if any, governmental oversight and then shut down without notice or don't provide accredited education, forcing students to start over, but then must borrow money from what should be seen as equally predatory student loans, which black students will carry longer, if not their entire lives, because, oh yeah, the poverty started by systemic cultural racism, structural racism makes it more difficult to attend college and hold a full-time job, thus lowering graduation rates. Okay, it's almost like we could do a whole video about this, but yeah, it's a real thing. And where the hell was I? Because now I'm getting pretty damn angry, and the right seems to shut the fuck up about their lies regarding critical race theory, because they're just trying to ensure their systemic structural racism is kept in place because of our nation is founded upon and thrives with white supremacist ideologies and policies that follow white people. You need to wake the fuck up, because this needs to change, and we're the ones that need to change it. Where was I?
Mic drop.
Women, right? Women hold more than 2/3 of the student loan debt. That's right, I forgot. This makes it difficult to envision having a child because, oh yeah, those pesky economic reasons we already listed, especially when even though there are more college-educated women in the workforce, they're paid just 74% of what college-educated men make. In case you didn't fucking know. A woman with a bachelor's degree earns $61,000 per year on average, which is roughly the equivalent of what a man with an associate's degree makes. I'm not knocking an associate's degree, but there's a difference. And what is one reason we see such a large gap? It's because of motherfucking motherhood and marriage. But we're going to get to that too, right? It's because of motherhood. I think we're gonna get to that. And hopefully, how much time do we have? Oh, it's our show, so we can go as long as we want. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
When they first enter the workforce, men and women are paid almost equally because they're both single and have no children. But then they get married or have children, even if they don't work fewer hours, which many women currently don't. They are paid less on an hourly basis because employers who pay substantially more for longer hours see women with children or those who are married, as they see those most likely to have children, as liabilities to their bottom line. This, even though, as noted, women have more college degrees and make up more of the college-educated workforce. But for those of you who say, yeah, but men have children too, what about us? We're important too, especially us white men who don't have privilege because we go through hardship too. Yeah, well, shut the fuck up, because you actually receive a 6% increase in your pay when you have children. Michelle Budick, B-U-D-I-C, I think it's Budick, sociology professor at University of Massachusetts Amherst, said low-income women lost 6% in wages per child, 2 percentage points more than the average. For men, the largest bonuses went to white and Latino men who were highly educated and in professional jobs. The smallest pay bumps went to unmarried African American men who had less education and had manual labor jobs. Quote, the daddy bonus increases the earnings of men already privileged in the labor market. That's that right there. Feel free to take a nice long look at it. Oh, by the way, there's going to be like citations and stuff in the description. I recommend you go and read them. Just saying. Now, you might be saying to yourself, again, and to me, but Nathaniel, what does all this ranting and educating us have to do with religion, you socialist, feminist, commie, Nazi, Antifa wildfire starter? Glad you asked. Take a look at this cool graph. The darkest pink represents counties where the average age of a mother when she had her first child is at or below 22 years old. And the darkest green is those at or above 30. If you're wondering if this is what an electoral map looks like, yes. I have no idea why Idaho, Missouri, Louisiana, Kentucky, Indiana, and Virginia are not included, and I have not reached out, nor do I intend to do so, to the New York Times for additional information. The greener counties are also those which are the most populous and thus have higher incomes. Santa Clara and San Francisco, California, the two richest metros in the country, are both about 31 years for their first child, which is also the highest in the country. The same can be said for DC and the New York City metro areas, and really every metro across the country, including those in conservative states, conservative southern states. Meanwhile, in our poorest counties, the average of motherhood, age of motherhood, the first child is quite the opposite. Sumter County, Alabama, with a poverty rate of 36%, is the poorest county in the nation and has an average age of first-time motherhood of 22.7 years. In Apache County, Arizona, which is the heart of the Navajo Nation reservation and includes Chinle, a town I visited on a mission trip when I graduated high school before joining the Navy, has a poverty rate of 35.9% and an average age of first-time motherhood of 22.2 years. It should be noted that there is no demographic in our nation which suffers more from a lack of access to education, food, running water, electricity, basic health care, or any other tangible we consider a basic need, those which the United Nations calls basic fucking human rights, and I'm pretty certain that's exactly how it's written, than the indigenous peoples we forced to live on reservations. Otero County, Colorado, the average age of first-time motherhood is 23. Phillips County, Arkansas, it's 21.3 years. We can go through every single state in the country, and I guarantee you we will see the exact same results. Counties with higher populations have higher incomes and higher ages of first motherhood, while poorer counties are the opposite. But again, Nathaniel, what does this have to do with religion? Because your channel only ever talks about religion. Fine. Here are the states, at least in 2016. So there's a little bit of variance from then until now, but this is still a good example because it's what we expected. And here they are, right here, where my hand is my hand is behind it. The least religious states are, by and large, where we also see women become first-time parents at a later age. I should also state this. I do not see a connection with being an atheist and being more intelligent or more successful financially, and I don't recommend you say anything like that because it's also incredibly demeaning and there is no connection to it. However, atheists do tend to have fewer children than those who are religious and also live in more metropolitan areas. Those who are the most religious live in a culture with expectations of motherhood and patriarchal dominance and a lack of gender equality. They both have more children and are younger when they have their first child than those who are non-religious. Get to that one in a second. Oops, go to that in a second. I just hit the wrong thing and it doesn't really matter. They also either outright reject the idea of abortion, no matter if their children are planned, and a multitude of our country's most religious states lack access to life-saving tools provided by organizations like Planned Parenthood. Additionally, many of these states don't require sex education, or if it is required, are required to only teach abstinence only or abstinence plus education. 20 states don't